Hello again. So we are going to talk a little bit about area of irregular shapes. This is probably one of the hardest ones to master because it is a bit confusing um, in the way that you have to separate your shapes in here. So let's look at the sample one. This is on page 18 of workbook 4. And this is how this is written here. Again, don't mind my drawing. I am not an artiste. So this is what our shape looks like. So this tells us here already that we have 4 right angles. So this is going to be a square. So the formula to figure out a square is going to be S. Let me erase that and change that. It's actually going to be S squared. Now, why am I looking at a square? Because what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to break this up into 2 actual shapes that I know how to find the area for. So my area that I'm going to find is going to be the square here that's going to be 6 meters by 6 meters. And then I'm also going to do this triangle that's separately here. Okay, because you see how it's dotted off. So now if you look at the shape, I actually have a square here, and then I have a triangle here. To find the area of the square, I already have all the information that I need because this is 6, and the formula is going to be S squared. So to find the area of a square, I'm just going to times 6 times 6, or 6 squared. So the area of my square is going to be 36 meters. So let's save that for later. Now let's work on our triangle. Our triangle, the formula for the triangle will be half times base times height. Okay, now the height here, we already have this height because it's exactly the same height as this side of the square. Okay, so we can say that this is also 6 meters in here. Okay, so our height of this will be 6 meters. Now let's look at the base. I don't know what the base is, but I can figure what the base is because if from here to here is 9 and from here to here is 6, I'm missing this section here. Okay, so this section is basically going to be what I minused from here. So I can do my math and figure that 6, or excuse me, this whole section of 9 minus the 6 that's already up here leaves me with this little section of 3. So that's how we get the 3 here. So if we do our formula for this, and we have, let me get a better pen because this happens to be writing together. Okay, if we do our formula of half times base times height for our triangle, it would be half times our base, which is 3, times our height, which is 6. And if we put that into the calculator as hit your ND button, and then you put in your half, and then you times 3, and then times 6, that gives us 9. So we have 9 meters for the triangle part. So if we look at this, we have 36 meters for this part and 9 meters for this part. When you add those together, our total for the shape is 45 meters. So how we have to do that is, and it's going to be squared. How we have to do that is we have to break it into 2 sections that we understand what the shape is. So let's do another one. Okay, so this is going to be number 2C on page 18. And I didn't draw my shapes here. I'm going to figure this out as we go. So when I look at this, I'm thinking this must be impossible to figure this out. And this is meters, by the way. I just didn't put in the M just to save room on the video. But let's go ahead and look at what we have here. Now, if I wanted to break this up into shapes that I understand and that I could find the area of, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking that I'm going to break this into a square right down here and then a triangle up at the top. Okay, so to do my square, I know that the formula for my square is 9 I'm sorry, my formula for my square will be, and actually this is supposed to be longer. Let me change this. Okay, let's look at this now that I've drawn it properly. One of the hardest things for me to do is to get these drawings on here correctly. Now this doesn't look to scale, but this hopefully will help you get the gist of it. So I'm not looking at a square here. I'm actually looking at a rectangle in this bottom section because this part is 9 and this is 4. So this is wider than this. So I know that my formula for my rectangle is going to be length times width. Okay, so I have my length and I have my width, however you want to do it. It's going to be 4 times 9. So 4 times 9 is going to give me 36. So I know that this bottom section down here is already my 36. That's the easy part. Now we have this triangle up here that we need to figure. So you're thinking, where do I come in for the numbers with a triangle? Well, first of all, our formula is half times base times height equals the area of your triangle. Okay, so that's the formula that we're going to be working with right here. So, oh, I cut this off at the top. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and look at these numbers here. Let's plug these numbers in. So our base of our triangle, we have the base going all the way across because it's 9. It's going to be the same as what we have over here. So we have our half times our 9 because we already have the base. And then what is our height? Okay, we have 11 up here, but it's not going all the way to 11. Okay, we're missing the 4 here. So to get our height, we're going to have to do this 11, okay, minus the 4 that's already accounted for in this one, and we would get our 7. So therefore, our height here from here to here will be 7. Okay, the height going up all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom is 11, but we've accounted for that height, that 4 part of the height right here, down here. Now we have to account for the 7 that's missing up at the top. So 11 minus our 4 gives us our top section. Okay, so then it would be times 7. So let's get out our calculator here, and we would do our ND, put in our half, get out of that and hit times 9 times 7, and let's see what we come up with here. And that gives us 31.5. 31.5. Now we're not done, okay, because this is only the top part, 31.5. But we also need this bottom part here. So when we mix this here and add these together, we have 36 plus our 31.5. And that on the calculator, 31.5 plus 36 is going to give us 67.5. So our area here is 67.5 meters squared. Okay, let's work on one more. Okay, this is going to be page 18, number 1A. And this looks pretty simple because we have this rectangle here, and we know that our rectangle is going to be length times width to get our area here, but we have a section cut out. So it's not truly a rectangle. We have a rectangle missing a piece, but I'm going to treat this like this is a complete rectangle for now, and then I'm going to minus this section out. So I'm going to break this up and treat this like a whole triangle here. And if I'm going to treat it like a whole triangle, I'm going to take my full side of 16 and my full side of 20, and I'm going to multiply those together. And that's going to give me 20 times 16. And let's do this on the calculator and see what we get here. That's going to give us 320. Okay, so the entire thing is 320. Now, I don't have all of this. So this is like we're carpeting our room. And this is our bedroom right here. We can't carpet 16 by 20 because we're missing this part. We wouldn't be able to open up the door. This right here is the section that goes out maybe into your hallway where you can't open up the door. So I need to account for this missing carpet piece. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to figure out what this shape is that I need to get rid of. And for me, that shape is going to be this triangle here. Okay, so our formula for the triangle again is going to be half times base times height. So let's go ahead and plug those numbers in there. Well, I don't have any numbers here. So how do I get these numbers? I know that my full side is 20 and my partial side is going to be 12. So 20 minus this section of 12 is going to leave me with 8. Okay, so now I've just figured out my missing section of this here. That's going to be my missing height. Okay, so then we have our other section here, which is 16, and we're going to minus the 8, and this is going to give us 8. So let's go ahead and try to figure out this formula using our numbers that we've determined. So now you can see if we added 8 plus 12, we have a full side of 20. And if you add 8 plus 8, we have a full side of 16. So all we did was really just find these missing numbers here. So let's do our half times our base times our height. So it's going to be half times our base, which we can use this one, is 8, and times our height up here is going to be 8. And that is going to leave us, if we put it into the calculator, or use our ND button, 1/2 times 8 times 8, and that gives us 32. So we know that this little section up here is 32, and this one in here is 320. Now the problem here is, on the last one that we did, we added them together. So you might be thinking, okay, 32 plus 320 would give us 352. However, we don't have an extra section hanging off here. We have one that's missing. So instead of doing the addition, we're going to subtract it. So we would do 320, which is the full thing, minus out this little section for our little cutout for our door here. And that's going to leave us with 288. I think this one's in centimeters. It's in meters. Okay, 288 meters squared. Okay, because now we're subtracting that instead of adding that. That's some of your common shapes. You really just have to try to figure out what would be the best shape for you to figure it out to make sure that you're accounting for all of the pieces. If you have something like this, then you might want to do the entire shape and then minus out this other section. So you kind of have to get creative on how you're going to draw these shapes into something that you can find the area for, and then either add them or subtract them. So I hope this helps. If not, let me know.